of Pythagorean theorem. Of course, everybody should know.
What's Pythagorean theorem?
A squared plus B squared equals C squared, where C is the hypotenuse. Okay, so when you do Pythagorean theorem, you may want to label, it's up to you, but the one that's opposite the 90 degree is your C or the hypotenuse in there. So A squared, and you don't have to write this out, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So A squared plus 6 squared equals 14 squared. A squared plus 36 equals 196. A squared equals 160. And it says you need to do it to the nearest tenth. And some people are having a problem with that. You need to figure it out. So the square root of 160 is 12.649. So what is that rounded to the nearest tenth of a centimeter? 12.6. The people that said 12.7, 12.64911. If you're rounding to the nearest tenth, you only look to the immediate right. You don't keep on rounding and rounding and rounding. The 9 doesn't round the 4 up to a 5, and then that rounds the 6 up to a 7. No, you look at the 6. On the right is a 4. That means it's closer to go back to the 6. 12.6. Okay, now we're going to do a pyramid here. Does everybody know the difference between a pyramid and a prism? We did prisms last year in grade 9. So prisms, they go 90 degrees up, where pyramids, from the base, it goes into an angle to the top. Do you see what I'm saying? Versus if this was the same square base, it would be something that goes up like this, right? I can't draw very good, so I apologize. Something like that, right? Anyways. Okay. So all you have to know essentially for a surface area of a pyramid is it's the base area plus all the areas of all the faces, okay? So finding the surface area of a square pyramid. So notice they give you what's called the slant height. The slant height is not the height of the pyramid. The height of the pyramid would be from the tip all the way straight down at 90 degrees. Okay, just so you know. So if you look for the formula for surface area on your formula sheet, it says for a square base pyramid, the surface area is 2bs. We're not going to laugh about that one. 2bs plus b squared. So where b is the base area side, and s is the slant height. So does everybody see? This is the slant height, and this is the actual height. Why am I telling you this? Because when you do volume, if you look to the right on your formula sheet, it uses h. That's the height of the pyramid, okay? Surface area, we're using the slant height. Now, why would I use the slant height? Well, how do you find the area of a triangle? It's the base times the height. Do you see the height of the triangle is the slant height of the pyramid? Yes? Okay, so make sure you don't misinterpret height and slant height and base and the base area. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of basic, like, you got to figure out which one is which here. So again, in grade 9, your teacher might have made you write out, okay, well, this was the base. It's a 4 by 4, right? Do you see why it would be the base area, which is 16? And then do you see that these are, because this is a square base, that all these triangles going all the way around are all the same? So you actually have a triangle that looks like this with a base of 4 and a height of 5. And you remember the formula for area of a triangle? It is what? Yeah, it's base times height divided by 2. So this would be 5 times 4 divided by 2, which is 10.
Isn't it 5 times 2?
No.
Like half?
No. Okay. So how many of triangles do I have here? Yeah, so there's 4 of them. So we're going to take that and times it by 4. So we get 40. So then my total surface area would be what? 16 plus 40, which is 56. Okay, so now on your formula sheet, there's an actual quick formula that you're allowed to use. And the quick formula is surface area equals 2bs plus b squared. So let's plug her in. SA equals 2 times the base, which is 4, times the slant height, which is 5, plus 4 squared. What do you think I get right here? 2 times 4 times 5? That's 40. What do you get here? 16. Do you see I get the same answer, which is 56? And what would my units be? What would my units be? Feet squared. Because it's dimension times dimension. So feet times feet gives me feet squared. So it's up to you if you want to use the surface area formula or just breaking it down for surface area. Whatever you understand better, I would recommend that's what you should do. Just a little caution here. If you go into, say, calculus and stuff like that, they don't actually provide the formula for it. So if you actually understand how these things arrive, you don't actually have to memorize a formula because you can actually come up with the answer without a true formula, besides the basics of like a side area. I'm sorry, a square area is base, like side squared, or a rectangle is length times width, or triangle is base times height divided by 2. So like if you understand those formulas, you should be able to figure out anything, right? Okay, keep going. We're going to do a square pyramid with a base, side length of 12 centimeters, and each triangular face has a height of 7 centimeters. So I'll give you a second to figure that out. You can either use just breaking it down the surface area of the 5 sides, or you can use the formula. Okay, so I am not going to use the formula. I am going to break it down to all the different sides because you'll see in example 3 coming up. You're going to have to do that anyways. So again, the square is 12 by 12, so that is 144 centimeters squared. And then the triangle, there's 4 triangles, so that would be 12 times 7 divided by 2, and that whole thing is going to be times by 4. So 12 times 7, so 168 centimeters squared, and then I add that up and I get 312 centimeters squared. Everybody understand? So now if I change the base, I know how to do this. I don't need a formula. If you look at the formula sheet for surface area, it says for a general right pyramid, right meaning that it's the height is at a right angle to the base. It says sum of the area of all the faces. So that's all they give you. So that's what I'm trying to say. You just need to know basic formulas to figure out surface area. So does everybody see for this one that there's how many sides first off? No, there's not 7 sides. How many sides are there for example 3? There's 5 sides. So we have a base rectangle. And are all 4 triangles the same? No. It's the opposite triangles that are the same. So do you see you cannot use a square pyramid formula for this because you wouldn't get the right answer. Okay, so try it by breaking it down. Okay, so the base would be 9 by 5, right, which is 45. Or I'll just put 45 meters squared there. Then you have 2 triangles, and I'm just going to draw it. It is 5 by 6, so that is, and of course times by 2, so then you get 30 meters squared. And then you have 2 triangles that are 9 by 4.7, and again there's 2 of them, so I get 42.3 meters squared. So if I add all that up, 117.3 meters squared. Is that what everybody got? Okay.
100.
Again, the base, oops, what happened there? The base is a 8 by 3, which is 24 centimeters squared. Then I have two triangles that are 5.2 by 8. So I get 121.6. And then I have two triangles that are a 3 by 6.4 is 19.2. I add them all up. Oh, something's wrong here. Hold on, hold on. Oh, that's not 15.2, it's 5.2. That's what I did wrong. Sorry, this should be 41.6. I didn't read my own writing is what happened. Do you see the height there, that line I read is 15.2 instead of the 5.2. Anyways, okay. So now we're going to change it up. Do you see the way example 4 is? What do they give you? They actually give you the height of the pyramid, which helps you for volume, but not for surface area. So does anybody think they know how they're going to figure out the actual slant height? Brooke? Yeah. Does everybody, can you actually see that that is the right triangle in there? Okay, sorry, I'm sure everybody had the same thing. What is this length right here, though? It's 5. It's 5. Yeah, so this is the square root of 61. So do not use this as a like don't round here. Keep it. So you can either square root it, store that decimal in your calculator so you're not rounding, or leave it as root 61 until your final answer. Okay? Again, do not round and then round again, because then your answer will be off. Okay, so the base is a 10 by 10, so that's 100 inches squared. Then I have 4 triangles, and the triangle is a square root of 61 by a base of 10. So again, if you stored square root of 61 in your calculator, you're going to use 8, right? So 10 times your alpha A, which is stored in A, or square root of 61. Okay, divide that by 2 and then times it by 4, or you can just times it by 2, same thing. So then you get 156.2, because it's saying to the nearest square inch. I'm just going to leave it. So actually it's saying to the nearest square inch. So what does that mean? Yeah, 156. So then my final answer is 256 square inches. Okay, so now the surface area of a cone is the lateral area and the base area. The lateral area is the part that's wrapped around the circle. So in grade 9 last year, you did cylinders, right? And that was a rectangle that was wrapped around 2 circles, yes? In a cone, you only have 1 circle, and it's not a rectangle. It's like, kind of like a triangle like that, right? Can you picture if you were to unwrap that, what it would look like? I can show you, one sec. And does everybody see where that comes from? What's pi r squared? Yeah, okay, and again, I don't know how your grade 9 teachers taught you for pi, but we do not use 3.14. We use the pi button, okay? So pi r squared is the area of this circle as the base, and then pi r s, does everybody see this S? Is the slant height. Again, it's not the height of the cone, it's the slant height. Okay, so we're just a plug and chug kind of formula here. So surface area is pi r, so my radius is 35, and if it happens to be diameter, then you convert it first, right? And then S is 90 plus pi 35 squared. And you should be able to punch this all in your calculator in one false swoop. So do it. Get a really big number. So again, because I'm rounding, it's saying to the nearest square millimeter. It's roughly 13,744 square millimeters. Okay, let's do the next one here. Again, this is on your formula sheet. You don't have to memorize this, right? So pi 9 squared plus pi 9 times 20. Okay, it's saying to the nearest square foot, so what would this be? 820 feet squared.